In a small village at the edge of the vast African savannah, a child named Kofi was born. But his birth was marked by tragedy. A great storm had swept through the village, flooding the land and taking the lives of his parents, Amma and Kwame. The storm ravaged the village, and as the floodwaters rose, Amma and Kwame tried desperately to save their cattle, but they were swallowed by the waves. Kofi, an infant, wrapped in his mother's cloth, floated on a piece of wood that had once been the roof of their home. It was then that an elderly traveler named Nia, wise and kind, saw the tiny child in the floodwaters. She rushed to rescue him, bringing him to safety and raising him as her own. The storm may have taken your parents, but the world will never leave you, Nia whispered to the newborn. As Kofi grew, Nia taught him the ways of the land. She taught him how to speak to the trees, how to listen to the winds, and how to plant crops. She also shared the stories of his ancestors, assuring him that although his parents were gone, they lived in the land, in the sky, and in Kofi's heart. But no matter how much love Nia gave, Kofi always felt an ache in his heart, a deep longing to know where he truly came from. One day, as Kofi grew older, he asked Nia, "Why was I born without my mother and father? Why am I alone in this world?" Nia, with a knowing smile, looked into his eyes. "You are never alone, my child," she replied. "But if you wish to learn more, there is a place where the truth of your birth is waiting for you." As Kofi matured, Nia felt it was time for him to understand the deeper connection between his parents, the land, and his own soul. She led him to the riverbank, the place where the storm had claimed his parents' lives. "Sit here, Kofi," Nia instructed. "The water will reveal the truth, but you must be brave enough to listen." Kofi sat quietly by the river, watching the water flow. His heart was filled with questions. Why am I here? What is my purpose? He thought. As the sun set, a golden light began to shimmer on the surface of the river. The wind whispered through the trees, and in that silence, Kofi suddenly heard a voice, soft but clear. "Kofi," the voice said. "You are the son of the storm and the sun. Your mother, Alma, was a daughter of the earth, and your father, Kwame, was the son of the sun. Though they are no longer with you, their spirits are alive in the land, in the sky, and in your heart." The river parted before Kofi, and he saw a vision of his parents. His mother, Alma, was dancing in a field of tall grass, her arms stretched to the heavens. His father, Kwame, stood by a fire, gazing at the stars, full of pride and love. The vision faded, but Kofi felt a deep peace settle in his soul. He now understood. Though his parents had passed, they lived on in him. "You are never alone," his father's voice echoed. We are with you always. You carry our strength and our love." With the vision of his parents' spirits in his heart, Kofi grew into a young man known throughout the village for his wisdom and courage. He worked the land, cared for animals, and helped his neighbors, just as his parents had done before him. But as time passed, he felt called to something greater, a purpose beyond the village. He began to dream of honoring his parents and sharing their legacy. One day, a group of travelers arrived from a distant village. Their land was suffering from a terrible drought, and the crops had died. Desperation had taken hold, and the elders had no answers. The travelers had heard of Kofi's wisdom and asked for his help. Kofi traveled with them to their village, where he saw the withered crops and dry riverbeds. But he also saw something else: the land was waiting for someone to heal it. Kofi gathered the villagers together and shared his knowledge. He taught them how to listen to the earth, how to plant crops in harmony with the seasons, and how to call upon the rains. He spoke to the trees, the river, and the winds, just as Nia had taught him. Soon, the rains began to fall, and the land started to bloom once again. The villagers hailed Kofi as a hero, but he knew that he was not a hero. He was the son of the earth and the sky, carrying his ancestors' strength in his heart. He had merely done what was natural, to connect with the world around him and honor the legacy of his parents. Kofi continued his journey, helping many villages, spreading wisdom and teaching people how to live in balance with nature. He became a legend, not only in his own village, but across the lands he visited. And every night, when the stars shone bright above the savannah, Kofi would sit by the fire and remember the words of his parents. You are the son of the storm and the sun. You are never alone.